John of Gaunt, time-honoured Lancaster, hast thou, according to thy oath and band, brought hither Henry Hereford, thy bold son, here to make good the boisterous late appeal, which then our leisure would not let us hear, against the Duke of Norfolk, Thomas Mowbray?
I have, my liege.
Then call them to our presence, face to face and frowning brow to brow. Ourselves will hear the accuser and the accused freely speak. High-stomached are they both and full of ire, in rage, deaf as the sea, hasty as fire.
Many years of happy days befall my gracious sovereign, my most loving liege.
Each day still better others' happiness, until the heavens, envying earth's good hap, add an immortal title to your crown.
We thank you both. Yet one but flatters us, as well appeareth by the cause you come, namely to appeal each other of high treason. Cousin of Hereford, what dost thou object against the Duke of Norfolk, Thomas Mowbray?
Thomas Mowbray, thou art a traitor and a miscreant, too good to be so and too bad to live.
Setting aside his high blood's royalty, and let him be no kinsman to my liege, I do defy him, and I spit at him, call him a slanderous coward and a villain.
Pale, trembling coward, there I throw my gage, disclaiming here the kindred of the king, and lay aside my high blood's royalty.
I take it up, and by that sword I swear, which gently laid my knighthood on my shoulder, I'll answer thee in any fair degree, or chivalrous design of knightly trial.
Wrath-kindled gentlemen, be ruled by me. Let's purge this collar without letting blood. Good uncle, let this end where it begun. We'll calm the Duke of Norfolk, you your son.
To be a make-peace shall become my age. Throw down, my son, the Duke of Norfolk's gage.
And Norfolk, throw down his.
Myself I throw, dread sovereign at thy foot. My life thou shalt command, but not my shame.
Cousin, take up your gage. Do you begin?
Oh, God, defend my soul from such deep sin.
We were not born to sue, but to command. Which since we cannot do to make you friends, be ready, as your lives shall answer it. At Coventry, upon St. Lambert's day, there shall your swords and lances arbitrate the swelling difference of your settled hate. Since we cannot atone you, we shall see justice design the victor's chivalry. Lord Marshal, command our officers at arms, be ready to direct these home alarms. Order the trial, Marshal, and begin.
Harry of Hereford, Lancaster and Derby stands here for God, his sovereign and himself, on pain to be found false and recreant, to prove the Duke of Norfolk, Thomas Mowbray, a traitor to his God, his king and him, and dares him to set forward to the fight.
Here standeth Thomas Mowbray, Duke of Norfolk, on pain to be found false and recreant, both to defend himself and to prove Henry of Hereford, Lancaster and Derby, to God his sovereign and to him disloyal, courageously and with a free desire, attending but the signal to begin.
Sound trumpets and set forward combatants. Stay! The king hath thrown his warder down.
Let them lay by their helmets and their spears, and both return back to their chairs again. Withdraw with us, and let the trumpets sound while we return these dukes what we decree. Draw near, and list what with our counsel we have done. For that our kingdom's earth should not be soiled with that dear blood which it hath fostered, and for our eyes do hate the dire aspect of civil wounds ploughed up with neighbour's sword. Therefore we banish you our territories. You, cousin Hereford, upon pain of life, till twice 5 summers have enriched our fields, shall not re-greet our fair dominions. but tread the stranger paths of banishment.
Your will be done. This must my comfort be, that sun that warms you here shall shine on me, and those his golden beams to you here lent shall point on me and gild my banishment.
Norfolk, for thee remains a heavier doom, which I with some unwillingness pronounce. The sly, slow hours shall not determinate the dateless limit of thy dear exile, the hopeless word of never to return. Breathe I against thee, upon pain of life.
A heavy sentence, my most sovereign liege, and all unlooked for from your highness' mouth. A dearer merit, not so deep a maim as to be cast forth from the common air, have I deserved at your highness' hands.
It boots thee not to be compassionate. After our sentence, plaining comes too late.
Then thus I turn me from my country's light, to dwell in solemn shades of endless night.
Cousin Aumerle, how far brought you High Hereford on his way?
I brought High Hereford, if you call him so, but to the next highway, and there I left him.
Ourself and Bushy, Bagot here and Green, observed his courtship to the common people, how he did seem to dive into their hearts with humble and familiar courtesy. What reverence he did throw away on slaves, wooing poor craftsmen with the craft of smiles, and patient underbearing of his fortune. As 'twere to banish their effects with him. Off goes his bonnet to an oyster wench. A brace of draymen bid God speed him well, and had the tribute of his supple knee, with thanks, my countrymen, my loving friends. As were our England in reversion his, and he our subjects' next degree in hope.
Well, he is gone, and with him go these thoughts. Now for the rebels which stand out in Ireland. Expedient manage must be made, my liege, ere further leisure yield them further means for their advantage, and your highness loss.
My lord,
What news?
old John of Gaunt is grievous sick, my lord, suddenly taken, and hath sent post haste to entreat your majesty to visit him.
Where lies he?
At Ely House.
Now put it God in his physician's mind to help him to his grave immediately. The lining of his coffers shall make coats to deck our soldiers for these Irish wars. Come, gentlemen, let's all go visit him. Pray God we may make haste and come too late.
Amen.
Will the king come, that I may breathe my last in wholesome counsel to his unstayed youth?
Vex not yourself, nor strive not with your breath, for all in vain comes counsel to his ear.
They say the tongues of dying men enforce attention like deep harmony. Though Richard, my life's counsel would not hear, my death's sad tale may yet undeaf his ear.
No, it is stopped with other flattering sounds.
Methinks I am a prophet new inspired, and thus expiring do foretell of him. His rash, fierce blaze of riot cannot last, for violent fires soon burn out themselves. Small showers last long, but sudden storms are short. He tires betimes that spurs too fast betimes. With eager feeding food doth choke the feeder, light vanity, insatiate cormorant, consuming means, soon preys upon itself. This royal throne of kings, this sceptred isle, this earth of majesty, this seat of Mars, this other Eden, demi-paradise, this fortress built by nature for herself against infection and the hand of war, this happy breed of men, this little world, this precious stone set in the silver sea, which serves it in the office of a wall, or as a moat defensive to a house against the envy of less happier lands. This blessed plot, this earth, this realm, this England, this nurse, this teeming womb of royal kings, feared by their breed and famous by their birth, renowned for their deeds as far from home for Christian service and true chivalry, as is the sepulchre in stubborn jury of the world's ransom, Blessed Mary's Son. This land of such dear souls, this dear, dear land, dear for her reputation through the world, is now leased out. I die pronouncing it, like to a tenement or belting farm. England, bound in with the triumphant sea, whose rocky shore beats back the envious siege of watery Neptune, is now bound in with shame, with inky blots and rotten parchment bonds. That England that was wont to conquer others hath made a shameful conquest of itself. Would the scandal vanish with my life? How happy then were my ensuing death.
The king is come. Deal mildly with his youth, for young hot colts being raged do rage the more.
What comfort, man? How is't with aged Gaunt?
How that name befits my composition. Old Gaunt indeed, and gaunt in being old. Within me, grief hath kept a tedious fast, and who abstains from meat that is not gaunt? For sleeping England, long time have I watched. Watching breeds leanness. Leanness is all gaunt. The pleasure that some fathers feed upon is my strict fast. I mean my children's looks. And therein, fasting, hast thou made me gaunt. Gaunt am I for the grave, gaunt as a grave, whose hollow womb inherits naught but bone.
Can sick men play so nicely with their names?
No, misery makes sport to mock itself. Since thou dost seek to kill my name in me, I mock my name, great king, to flatter thee.
Should dying men flatter with those that live?
No, no, men living flatter those that die.
Thou now a dying sayest thou flatterest me.
Oh, no, thou diest, though I the sicker be.
I am in health, I breathe, and see thee ill.
Now he that made me knows I see thee ill. Thy deathbed is no lesser than thy land, wherein thou liest in reputation sick. And thou, too careless patient as thou art, committ'st thy anointed body to the cure of those physicians that first wounded thee. 1,000 flatterers sit within thy crown, whose compass is no bigger than thy head, and yet encaged in so small a verge, the waste is no whit lesser than thy land, landlord of England. Art thou now not king? Thy state of law is bond-slave to the law, and thou...
A lunatic, lean-witted fool! Presuming on an ague's privilege, darest with thy frozen admonition make pale our cheek, chasing the royal blood with fury from his native residence. Now, by my seat's right royal majesty, wert thou not brother to great Edward's son, this tongue that runs so roundly in thy head should run thy head from thy unreverent shoulders.
Oh, spare me not, my brother Edward's son, for that I was his father Edward's son. That blood already like the pelican hast thou tapped out and drunkenly caroused. My brother Gloucester, plain, well-meaning soul, whom fair befall in heaven amongst happy souls, may be a precedent and witness good, that thou respects not spilling Edward's blood. Join with the present sickness that I have, and thy unkindness be like crooked age, to crop at once a too long withered flower. Live in thy shame, but die not shame with thee. These words hereafter thy tormentors be. Convey me to my bed, then to my grave. Love they to live, that love and honor have.
And let them die that age and sullens have, for both hast thou, and both become the grave.
No, I do beseech your majesty, impute his words to wayward sickliness and age in him. He loves you on my life, and holds you dear as Harry, Duke of Hereford, were he here.
Right, you say true. As Hereford's love, so his. As theirs, so mine. And all be as it is.
My liege, old Gaunt commends him to your majesty.
What says he?
Nay, nothing. All is said. His tongue is now a stringless instrument. Words, life, and all old Lancaster hath spent.
The ripest fruit first falls, and so doth he. His time is spent. Our pilgrimage must be. So much for that. Now, for our Irish wars. And for these great affairs do ask some charge. Towards our assistance we do seize to us the plate, coin, revenues, and movables, whereof our uncle Gaunt did stand possessed.
How long shall I be patient? Ah, how long shall tender duty make me suffer wrong?
Why, uncle, what's the matter?
Oh, my liege, pardon me if you please. If not, I please not to be pardoned, am content with all. Seek you to seize and grip into your hands the royalties and rights of banished Hereford? Is not Gaunt dead? And doth not Hereford live? Was not Gaunt just, and is not Harry true? Did not the one deserve to have an heir? Is not his heir a well-deserving son? Take Hereford's rights away, and take from time his charters and his customary rights. If you do wrongfully seize Hereford's rights, you pluck 1,000 dangers on your head. You lose 1,000 well-disposed hearts.
Think what you will. We seize into our hands his plate, his goods, his money, and his lands.
I'll not be by the while. My liege, farewell.
Go, Bushy, to the Earl of Wiltshire straight. Bid him repair to us to Ely House to see this business. Tomorrow next we will for Ireland, and 'tis time, I trow. And we create, in absence of ourself, our Uncle York, Lord Governor of England, for he is just and always loved us well.
While the king is in Ireland, Bolingbroke returns from exile and raises a rebellion. The king, accompanied by Aumerle and the Bishop of Carlisle, lands in Wales.
Barclay Castle, call they this at hand?
Yea, my lord. How brooks your grace the air after your late tossing on the breaking seas?
Needs must I like it well. I weep for joy to stand upon my kingdom once again. Dear earth, I do salute thee with my hand, though rebels wound thee with their horses' hoofs. As a long-parted mother with her child plays fondly with her tears and smiles in meeting, so, weeping, smiling, greet I thee, my earth, and do thee favors with my royal hands. Feed not thy sovereign's foe, my gentle earth, nor with thy sweets comfort his ravenous sense, but let thy spiders that suck up thy venom and heavy-gated toads lie in their way, doing annoyance to the treacherous feet which with usurping steps do trample thee. Yield stinging nettles to mine enemies, and when they from my bosom pluck a flower, guard it, I pray thee, with a lurking adder, whose double tongue may with a mortal touch throw death upon thy sovereign's enemies. Mock not my senseless conjuration, lords. This earth shall have a feeling, and these stones prove armed soldiers ere her native king shall falter under foul rebellion's arms.
Fear not, my lord. That power that made you king hath power to keep you king in spite of all. The means that heaven yields must be embraced and not neglected. Else, if heaven would and we will not, heaven's offer we refuse the proffered means of succor and redress.
He means, my lord, that we are too remiss, whilst Bolingbroke, through our security, grows strong and great in substance and in power.
Discomfortable cousin, knowst thou not that when the searching eye of heaven is hid behind the globe that lights the lower world, then thieves and robbers range abroad unseen in murders and in outrage, boldly here. But when from under this terrestrial ball he fires the proud tops of the eastern pines and darts his light through every guilty hole, then murders, treasons, and detested sins, the cloak of night being plucked from off their backs, stand bare and naked, trembling at themselves. So when this thief, this traitor Bolingbroke, who all this while hath revelled in the night, whilst we were wandering in the antipodes, shall see us rising in our throne, the east. His treasons will sit blushing in his face, not able to endure the sight of day, but self-affrighted, tremble at his sin. Not all the water in the rough, rude sea can wash the balm from an anointed king. The breath of worldly men cannot depose the deputy elected by the Lord. For every man that Bolingbroke hath pressed to lift shrewd steel against our golden crown, God for his Richard hath in heavenly pay a glorious angel. Then, if angels fight, weak men must fall, for heaven still guards the right. Welcome, Salisbury. How far off lies your power?
No near nor farther off, my gracious lord, than this weak arm. Discomfort guides my tongue and bids me speak of nothing but despair. One day too late, I fear me, noble lord, hath clouded all thy happy days on earth. Oh, call back yesterday, bid time return, and thou shalt have 12,000 fighting men. Today, unhappy day too late, o'erthrows thy joys, friends, fortune, and thy state, for all the Welshmen, hearing thou wert dead, are gone to Bolingbroke, dispersed and fled.
Comfort, my liege, why looks your grace so pale?
But now the blood of 20,000 men did triumph in my face, and they have fled. And till so much blood thither come again, have I not reason to look pale and dead? All souls that will be safe, fly from my side, for time hath set a blot upon my pride.
Comfort, my liege, remember who you are.
I had forgot myself. Am I not king? Awake, thou coward majesty, thou sleepest. Is not the king's name 20,000 names? Arm, my name. A puny subject strikes at thy great glory. Look not to the ground, ye favourites of a king. Are we not high? High be our thoughts. I know my uncle York hath power enough to serve our turn. But who comes here? Scroop!
More health and happiness betide my liege than can my care-tuned tongue deliver him.
Mine ear is open and my heart prepared. The worst is worldly loss thou canst unfold. Cry woe, destruction, ruin, and decay. The worst is death, and death will have his day.
Glad am I that your highness is so armed to bear the tidings of calamity. Like an unseasonable stormy day, which makes the silver rivers drown their shores as if the world were all dissolved to tears, so high above his limits swells the rage of Bolingbroke, covering your fearful land with hard, bright steel, and hearts harder than steel. White beards have armed their thin and hairless scalps against thy majesty. Boys, with women's voices, strive to speak big and clap their female joints in stiff, unwieldy arms against thy crown. Both young and old rebel, and all goes worse than I have power to tell.
Too well thou tell'st a tale so ill.
Where is the Duke, my father, with his power?
No matter where. Of comfort no man speak. Let's talk of graves, of worms and epitaphs. Make dust our paper, and with rainy eyes write sorrow on the bosom of the earth. Let's choose executors and talk of wills, and yet not so, for what can we bequeath save our deposed bodies to the ground? Our lands, our lives, and all our Bolingbroks, and nothing can we call our own but death, and that small model of the barren earth which serves as paste and cover to our bones. For God's sake, let us sit upon the ground and tell sad stories of the death of kings. Some have been deposed, some slain in war, some haunted by the ghosts they have deposed, some poisoned by their wives, some sleeping killed, all murdered. For within the hollow crown that rounds the mortal temples of a king keeps death his court, and there the antic sits, scoffing his state and grinning at his pomp, allowing him a breath, a little scene, to monarchize, be feared, and kill with looks, infusing him with self and vain conceit, as if this flesh which walls about our life were brass, impregnable. And humoured thus, comes at the last, and with a little pin bores through his castle walls and Farewell, King. Cover your heads, and mock not flesh and blood with solemn reverence. Throw away respect, tradition, form, and ceremonious duty. For you have but mistook me all this while. I live with bread like you, feel want, taste grief, need friends. Subjected thus, how can you say to me, I am a king?
My lord, wise men ne'er sit and wail their woes, but presently prevent the ways to wail.
Thou chidest me well. Proud Bolingbroke, I come to change blows with thee for our day of doom. This ague fit of fear is overblown. An easy task it is to win our own. Say, Scroop, where lies our uncle with his power? Speak sweetly, man, although thy looks be sour.
Your uncle York is joined with Bolingbroke, and all your northern castles yielded up, and all your southern gentlemen in arms upon his party.
Thou hast said enough. Go to Flint Castle. There I'll pine away. A king, woe's slave, shall kingly woe obey. That power I have, discharge, and let them go to ear the land that hath some hope to grow, for I have none. Let no man speak again to alter this, for counsel is but vain.
My liege, one word.
He does me double wrong that wounds me with the flatteries of his tongue. Discharge my followers. Let them hence, away, from Richard's night to Bolingbroke's fair day.
The king is at Flint Castle. Bolingbroke arrives outside the walls.
What must the king do now? Must he submit? The king shall do it. Must he be deposed? The king shall be contented. Must he lose the name of king? Oh, God's name, let it go. I'll give my jewels for a set of beads, my gorgeous palace for a hermitage, my gay apparel for an almsman's gown, my figured goblets for a dish of wood, my scepter for a palmer's walking staff, my subjects for a pair of carved saints, and my large kingdom for a little grave, a little grave, an obscure grave. Or I'll be buried in the king's highway, some way of common trade, where subjects' feet may hourly trample on their sovereign's head. For on my heart they tread now, whilst I live, and buried once, why not upon my head? Aumerle, thou weepst, my tender-hearted cousin. We'll make foul weather with despised tears. Our sighs and they shall lodge the summer corn and make a dearth in this revolting land. Or shall we play the wantons with our woes and make some pretty match with shedding tears, as thus to drop them still upon one place, till they have fretted us a pair of graves within the earth, and therein laid, there lies two kinsmen digged their graves with weeping eyes. Would not this ill do well? Well, I see I talk but idly, and you laugh at me. Most mighty prince, my lord Northumberland, what says King Bolingbroke? Will his majesty give Richard leave to live till Richard die? You make a leg, and Bolingbroke says, aye.
My lord, in the base court he doth attend to speak with you. May it please you to come down?
Down I come, like glistering phaeton, wanting the manage of unruly jades. In the base court where kings grow base, to come at traitors call and do them grace. In the base court, come down! Down, court! Down, king! For night owls shriek where mounting larks should sing.
Stand all apart and show fair duty to his majesty. My gracious lord.
Fair cousin, you debase your princely knee to make the base earth proud with kissing it. Me rather had my heart might feel your love than my unpleased eye see your courtesy. Up, cousin, up. Your heart is up, I know, thus high at least, although your knee be low.
My gracious lord, I come but for mine own.
Your own is yours, and I am yours, and all.
So far be mine, my most redoubted lord, as my true service shall deserve your love.
Well you deserve. They well deserve to have, that know the strongest and surest way to get. Uncle, give me your hands. Nay, dry your eyes. Tears show their love, but want their remedies. Cousin, I am too young to be your father, though you are old enough to be my heir. What you will have, I'll give, and willing too. For do we must what force will have us do. Set on towards London, cousin? Is it so?
Yea, my good lord.
Then I must not say no.
The Queen walks in the Duke of York's garden.
What sport shall we devise here in this garden to drive away the heavy thought of care?
Madam, we'll play at bowls.
'Twill make me think the world is full of rubs, and that my fortune runs against the bias.
Madam, we'll dance.
My legs can keep no measure in delight, when my poor heart no measure keeps in grief. Therefore no dancing, girl. Some other sport.
Madam, we'll tell tales.
Of sorrow or of joy?
Of either, madam.
Of neither, girl. For if of joy being altogether wanting, it doth remember me the more of sorrow. Or if of grief being altogether had, it adds more sorrow to my want of joy. But stay, here come the gardeners.
Let's step into the shadow of these trees.
My wretchedness unto a row of pins they will talk of state, for every one doth so against a change. Woe is forerun with woe.
The Queen overhears news of the King's surrender. King Richard is brought before Bolingbroke in Westminster Hall.
Alack, why am I sent for to a king before I have shook off the regal thoughts wherewith I reigned? I hardly yet have learned to insinuate, flatter, bow, and bend my knee. Give sorrow leave a while to tutor me to this submission. Yet I well remember the favours of these men. Were they not mine? Did they not sometime cry, all hail to me? So Judas did to Christ, but he in 12 found truth in all but one. I in 12,000, none. God save the king. Will no man say amen? Am I both priest and clerk? Well then, amen. God save the king, although I be not he. And yet, amen, if heaven do think him me. To do what service am I sent for hither?
To do that office of thine own goodwill which tired majesty did make thee offer, the resignation of thy state and crown to Henry Bolingbroke.
Give me the crown. Here, cousin, seize the crown. Here, cousin, on this side my hand, and on that side thine. Now is this golden crown like a deep well that owes 2 buckets filling one another, the emptier ever dancing in the air, the other down, unseen and full of water. That bucket down and full of tears am I, drinking my griefs, whilst you mount up on high.
I thought you had been willing to resign.
My crown I am, but still my griefs are mine. You may my glories and my state depose, but not my griefs. Still am I king of those.
Part of your cares you give me with your crown.
Your cares set up do not pluck my cares down. The cares I give, I have, though given away. They tend the crown, yet still with me they stay.
Are you contented to resign the crown?
I... No. No. For I must nothing be. Therefore, no, no, for I resign to thee. Now mark me how I will undo myself. I give this heavy weight from off my head, and this unwieldy scepter from my hand, the pride of kingly sway from out my heart. With mine own tears I wash away my barn, with mine own hands I give away my crown, with mine own tongue deny my sacred state, with mine own breath release all duteous oaths. All pomp and majesty I do forswear, my manors, rents, revenues I forego, my acts, decrees, and statutes I deny. God pardon all oaths that are broke to me. God keep all vows unbroke are made to thee. Make me that nothing have with nothing grieved, and thou with all pleased that hast all achieved. Long mayst thou live in Richard's seat to sit, and soon lie Richard in an earthy pit. God save King Henry, unkinged Richard says, and send him many years of sunshine days. What more remains?
No more but that you read these accusations and these grievous crimes, committed by your person and your followers against the state and profit of this land, that by confessing them the souls of men may deem that you are worthily deposed.
Must I do so? And must I ravel out my weaved-up follies? Gentle Northumberland, if thy offences were upon record, would it not shame thee in so fair a troop to read a lecture of them? If thou wouldst, there shouldst thou find one heinous article containing the deposing of a king and cracking the strong warrant of an oath, marked with a blot, damned in the book of heaven. Nay, all of you that stand and look upon me, whilst that my wretchedness abate myself, though some of you with Pilate wash your hands, showing an outward pity, yet you pilots have here delivered me to my sour cross, and water cannot wash away your sin.
My lord, dispatch, read all these articles.
Mine eyes are full of tears, I cannot see. And yet salt water blinds them not so much, but they can see a sort of traitors here. Nay, if I turn mine eyes upon myself, I find myself a traitor with the rest. For I have given here my soul's consent to undeck the pompous body of a king, made glory base and sovereignty a slave, proud majesty a subject, state a peasant.
My lord, read.
No lord of thine, thou haut insulting man. You're no man's lord. I have no name, no title. No, not that name was given me at the font, but 'tis usurped. Alack, the heavy day that I have worn so many winters out, and know not now what name to call myself. Oh, that I were a mockery king of snow, standing before the sun of Bolingbroke to melt myself away in water drops. Good king, great king, and yet not greatly good. And if my word be sterling yet in England, let it command a mirror hither straight, that it may show me what a face I have since it is bankrupt of his majesty.
Go, some of you, and fetch a looking-glass.
Read all this paper while the glass doth come.
Fiend, thou torment'st me ere I come to hell.
Urge it no more, my lord Northumberland.
The commons will not then be satisfied.
They shall be satisfied. I'll read enough when I do see the very book indeed where all my sins are writ, and that's myself. Give me that glass, and therein will I read. No deeper wrinkles yet. Hath sorrow struck so many blows upon this face of mine, and made no deeper wounds? Oh, flattering glass, like to my followers in prosperity, thou dost beguile me. Was this face the face that every day under his household roof did keep 10,000 men? Was this the face that like the sun did make beholders wink? Was this the face that faced so many follies and was at last outfaced by Bolingbroke? A brittle glory shineth in this face. As brittle as the glory is the face. For there it is, cracked in 100 shivers. Mark, silent king, the moral of this sport. How soon my sorrow hath destroyed my face.
The shadow of your sorrow hath destroyed the shadow of your face.
I'll beg one boon, and then be gone and trouble you no more. Shall I obtain it?
Name it, fair cousin.
Fair cousin? I am greater than a king, for when I was a king, my flatterers were then but subjects. Being now a subject, I have a king here to my flatterer. Being so great, I have no need to beg.
Yet ask.
And shall I have?
You shall.
Then give me leave to go.
Whither?
Whither you will, so I were from your sight.
Go, some of you. Convey him to the tower.
Oh, good, convey. Conveyors are you all that rise thus nimbly by a true king's fall.
On Wednesday next, we solemnly set down our coronation. Lords, prepare yourselves.
The Queen waits for King Richard in a street leading to the tower.
This way the king will come. This is the way to Julius Caesar's ill-erected tower, to whose flint bosom my condemned lord is doomed a prisoner by proud Bolingbroke. Here let us rest, if this rebellious earth have any resting for her true king's queen. But soft, but see, or rather do not see my fair rose wither. Yet look up, behold, that you in pity may dissolve to dew and wash him fresh again with true love tears. Ah, thou the model where old Troy did stand, thou map of honour, thou King Richard's tomb and not King Richard, thou most beauteous inn, why should hard-favoured grief be lodged in thee when triumph is become an alehouse guest?
Join not with grief, fair woman, do not so, to make my end too sudden. Learn, good soul, to think our former state a happy dream, from which awaked, the truth of what we are shows us but this. I am sworn, brother sweet, to grim necessity, and he and I will keep a league till death. Hie thee to France, and cloister thee in some religious house. Our holy lives must win a new world's crown, which our profane hours here have thrown down.
What? Is my Richard both in shape and mind transformed and weakened? Hath Bolingbroke deposed thine intellect?
My lord, the mind of Bolingbroke is changed. You must to Pomfret, not unto the tower. And, madam, there is order ta'en for you. With all swift speed you must away to France.
Part us, Northumberland. I towards the north, where shivering cold and sickness pines the clime. My wife to France, from whence set forth in pomp. She came adorned hither like sweet May, sent back like Hallowmas or short-stood day.
And must we be divided? Must we part?
Aye, hand from hand, my love, and heart from heart.
Banish us both and send the king with me?
That was some love, but little policy.
Then whither he goes, thither let me go.
So too, together weeping, make one woe. Weep thou for me in France, I for thee here. Go, count thy way with sighs, I mine with groans. We make woe wanton with this fond delay. Once more, adieu. The rest, let sorrow say. I have been studying how I may compare this prison where I live unto the world. And for because the world is populous, and here is not a creature but myself, I cannot do it. Yet I'll hammer it out. My brain I'll prove the female to my soul the father. And these two beget a generation of still-breeding thoughts. And these same thoughts people this little world in humors like the people of this world, for no thought is contented. The better sort, as thoughts of things divine, are intermixed with scruples, and do set the word itself against the word, as thus, come, little ones, and then again. It is as hard to come as for a camel to thread the postern of a small needle's eye. Thoughts tending to ambition, they do plot unlikely wonders. How these vain, weak nails may tear a passage through the flinty ribs of this hard world, my ragged prison walls. And for they cannot die in their own pride. Thoughts tending to content flatter themselves that they are not the first of fortune's slaves, nor shall not be the last, like silly beggars who, sitting in the stocks, refuge their shame that many have and others must sit there. And in this thought they find a kind of ease, bearing their own misfortunes on the back of such as have before endured the like. Thus play I in one person many people, and none contented. Sometimes am I king, then treasons make me wish myself a beggar, and so I am. Then crushing penury persuades me I was better when a king. Then am I kinged again, and by think that I am unkinged by Bolingbroke, and straight am nothing. But whate'er I be, nor I, nor any man that but man is, with nothing shall be pleased, till he be eased with being nothing. Music, do I hear? Keep time. Oh, how sour sweet music is when time is broken, no proportions. So is it in the music of men's lives. And here have I the daintiness of ear to check time broke in a disordered string, but for the concord of my state and time, had not an ear to hear my true time broke. I wasted time, and now doth time waste me. For now hath time made me his numbering clock. My thoughts are minutes, and with sighs they jar their watches on unto mine eyes, the outward watch, whereto my finger, like a dial's point, is pointing still and cleansing them from tears. Now, sir, the sound that tells what hour it is are clamorous groans which strike upon my heart, which is the bell. So sighs and tears and groans show minutes, times, and hours. But my time runs posting on in Bolingbroke's proud joy, whilst I stand fooling here his jack of the clock. This music mads me! Let it sound no more! For though it hath halt madmen to their wits, in me it seems it will make wise men mad. Yet, blessing on his heart that gives it me, what is a sign of love? And love to Richard is a strange brooch in this all-hating world.
Lord, will please you to fall to?
Taste of it first, as thou art wont to do.
My lord, I dare not. Sir Piers of Exton, who lately came from the king, commands the contrary.
The devil take Henry of Lancaster and thee. Patience is stale, and I am weary of it. Help! 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 Ah, now, what means death in this rude assault? That hand shall burn in never-quenching fire that staggers thus my person. Thy fierce hand hath with the king's blood stained the king's own land. Mount, mount, my soul, thy seat is upon high, whilst my gross flesh sinks downward, here to die.
As full of valor as of royal blood, both have I spilled. Oh, would the deed were good, for now the devil that told me I did well says that this deed is chronicled in hell. This dead king to the living king I'll bear. Great king, within this coffin I present thy buried fear. Herein all breathless lies the mightiest of thy greatest enemies, Richard of Bordeaux, by me hither brought.
Exton, I thank thee not, for thou hast wrought a deed of slander with thy fatal hand upon my head and all this famous land.
From your own mouth, my lord, did I this deed.
They love not poison that do poison need, nor do I thee. Though I did wish him dead, I hate the murderer. Love him murdered. The guilt of conscience take thou for thy labor, but neither my good word nor princely favor. With Cain go wander through the shades of night, and never show thy head by day nor light. Lords, I protest, my soul is full of woe that blood should sprinkle me to make me grow. Come, mourn with me for what I do lament, and put on sullen black incontinent. I'll make a voyage to the Holy Land to wash this blood off from my guilty hand. March sadly after, grace my mornings here in weeping after this untimely